Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Thursday, August 14th, 2025. And I'm actually alone today. The little fella is not with me. It's just after 7 o'clock in the morning here. It's pretty chilly. And he was very, very comfortable in his bed. And he looked up and said, "Yeah, no, not for me today, Dad. I'm going to sit this one out," which happens every now and then. I don't force him. Pretty much 6 out of, probably 13 out of every 14 days, probably even more. He's up amongst it. Just maybe once every 2, 3, maybe even 4 weeks he doesn't want to come. So that's all good. I've got to get on the road nice and early. I can understand it during winter. So I don't force him to go. All right, on to some boxing news. And on this day, let's go back to, where was it? Hang on. That's not the one. This is the one I want. 1903. Yes, we're going to go back to 1903. James J. Jeffries, the great heavyweight champion, stopped another great champion, James J. Corbett, in round 10 of a scheduled 20-rounder to retain the world heavyweight title at the Mechanics Pavilion in San Francisco. What's to say here? Jeffries, a 2-1 betting favourite, defended his title for the 6th time overall and for the 2nd time against Corbett. It seemed to be the norm back then, didn't it? They fought each other multiple times, 3, 4, even 5 times sometimes. This was the 2nd time against Corbett, who was knocked out by Jeffries in round 23 of their first meeting in May 1900. It's crazy they used to fight those type of fights back then, isn't it? All right, and we'll go back also to 1999, and Steve Johnson defended his world lightweight title by defeating Angel Manfredi on points. That was in Mashantucket, Connecticut, another one of those weird and wonderful obscure names in America. And in 2010, Canada's Jean Pascal was crowned the world light heavyweight champion by defeating American Chad Dawson by technical decision in 11 rounds. And that fight took place in Montreal, Canada. Beautiful place, Montreal, Canada as well. All right, well, yesterday, an announcement. Liam Paro is signed to fight David. Now he's a Frenchman, so it's David Pepo. I was going to say Papit, the way we would probably describe it here or pronounce it, but I'd say it's David Pepo. Pretty good opponent too, I will say. He's 30-0 with 1 draw, but only the 5 knockouts. So look, a really good opponent for Liam, and the reason I say that, look, he's not over. Look, even though he's had the 30 wins, as I said, only 5 knockouts, but ranked, I think, number 5 with the WBO or 7 or something with the WBO. So he's got a ranking. Look, this is probably just a keep busy fight for Liam. It's his first fight at welterweight. So I think this guy's a perfect opponent. I've had a bit of a look at him on YouTube. Didn't really know much about him before that. But he's pretty slick. He's southpaw. So he's going to sort of counter Liam's sort of natural advantage of being a southpaw. And the only thing with him, he probably fights a little bit like an amateur, on the toe, sort of in, out. Doesn't really put much emphasis on his punches, hence the reason why he's only had 5 knockouts. But he boxes okay. As I said, he's in, he's out. He likes to sort of keep those hands down like the amateurs sort of do and flick the punches out and sort of score and then skip off to the side. And what did I say? It's 30-0 with 1 draw. So he's coming off a 7th round, a rare stoppage, a 7th round stoppage over Josh Wagner back in November. Look, I think this is a really good opponent for Liam in that not only will he get an opponent who's very, well, I won't say very beatable. I think Liam wins the fight, no problems, but he'll give Liam some problems, especially if he gets on his bike and moves. He's a very, very cagey type of fighter. Like I said, he does tend to fight a little bit like an amateur, which can be hard because if you watch a lot of amateurs and pro boxing, like I'm sure a lot of you do, you see that they're just totally different sports. The pros are sort of more sit down on your punches and Obviously, it's over 10 or 8, 10, 12 rounds, whatever, so you've got to have a different strategy. But the amateurs, it's very much on the toes, in, out, off to the side, looking to score the punch. Not a lot of punches thrown. They're really looking for quality over quantity in the amateurs. And this is the way this guy fights. But he's got a bit of swagger about him as well. And even though I think Liam wins the fight, I think the fact that he's going to have a rating, which will be all, you would think that Liam Paro, I hope I didn't say Wilson in any of these descriptions, but Liam Paro, you would think that going for that ranking would be the main thing, and just getting a nice solid scrap under his belt for his first venture at 147, and just to keep busy. He only fought a couple of months ago, remember? And I think this guy is just perfect as far as giving him some rounds. I think Liam, if I had to pick a result, I would say that Liam chops him down in sort of 8 or 9 rounds, but it's going to be a good 8 or 9 rounds for him. This guy will give him some problems early on, and will make Liam just sort of think about a few things and maybe work on a few things as well. But I really like the opponent on the surface anyway. We've seen a few of these fights where these opponents don't look too bad and they get in the ring, and let's just say it's almost like a Timu sort of thing, isn't it? Where that looks great on the internet, and then when it arrives in person, it's not what was being advertised. We saw that with Michael Zarafa and Basir A, not really what was advertised. But yeah, I've had a look at it. I haven't watched his full fights, just a lot of highlights of his career. And yeah, as I said, I think he gives Liam just some issues early, and we'll give him some good rounds, and more importantly, we'll give him a good rating. So that it's by the way, the card is when is it? September the 18th in Brisbane, which would be fantastic for Liam to sort of get a Queensland show up there. Now on the undercard, Liam Wilson will fight American Carlos Gonzalez. Now, Carlos Gonzalez is 15-0. I'm just going to type in his name in the box rec here. I did have a look last night, but I don't want to have too many sort of windows open on my phone. It's really hard to sort of navigate. The problem is, of course, is that there is about 50 Carlos Gonzalez's on there. I think this is the one here. Where are we? Yes, there he is. 15-0. 1 draw, 14 knockouts, so a really, really good record. But this is probably one of those instances where I'm certainly not getting carried away with the record. His first probably 12 or 13 fights, the fighters he fought had horrendous records, but I'm not really stressed about that. I'm looking here, 0-6, 0-5, 1-10, 1-11, 1-11, 4-19, 2-18, 15-28. But his last 4 fights, not too bad. His last fight was a KO over Alexander Major. He was 19-11. Alexander Spinoza was 23-6-2. His last one was 24-9, 24-1. So look, I'm not really looking at the record. I know the first thing we do is go to BoxRec and have a look. I'm not really stressed about this, because for Liam, this is purely a keep busy fight. This is his 3rd fight for the year as well, so I've got no doubt. Looks good on the records. As I said, 15-0, 14 knockouts. But yeah, as I said, more important, this is Liam's 3rd fight, and he's ranked in 2 of the organisations, so he's just got to keep winning. And I know there'll probably be a lot of people who will probably come for this type of opponent, even though he has got a really good record on paper. But I've got no dramas with it. You've got to keep fighting these guys just to keep active, keep the ranking sort of going. And yeah, I think this guy's custom made for Liam. He's a typical sort of Latino type of fighter, even though he's a Mexican. Looks like he's of Mexican descent. And he's solid. He's solid. He's typical inside sort of fighter, uppercuts and hooks, not particularly fast with his hands or his feet. And I think Liam Wilson should get the stoppage over Carlos Gonzalez, but he'll be tough. He'll be tough. Look, it's probably hard to explain to fans that just expect these guys to fight, world-class fighters all the time. And who's to say this guy's not world-class? But you're sort of looking at him. I think he's been brought in just to give Liam some solid rounds and just tread water. Well, not tread water, because that's a dangerous thing to do when you're waiting for a world title shot, but just to keep him busy. I think Liam's the type of fighter that likes to be busy. He doesn't like to sit on the sidelines too long. And I think, this guy will give him some issues early. I think just the fact he's tough and hard, and these Latino guys, they just don't know how to take a backward step, and Liam loves to be in a scrap too, doesn't he? So it'll be an entertaining fight. That's probably one thing I can guarantee, but I would expect Liam Wilson to probably get Gonzalez out of there in, again, sort of 8 or 9 rounds, but it'll be a solid fight. It's a solid card overall, it really is. And, I'm hoping and looking forward to Liam hopefully getting a shot at the world title, maybe not at the end of this year, although he does fight often, maybe in the first quarter of 2026. And I really like the fight. I don't think this guy offers too many challenges, except for maybe the obvious dangers with heads and elbows and shoulders and all that sort of going everywhere. But I think he'll give Liam a good solid fight and keep him active for a potential world title fight. So no dramas there. The other one on the card, this should be a good one, is Paulo Aokuso. And he's coming up against an undefeated American, 6-0, 5 knockouts, by the name of Casey Dixon. And he's got a little bit of a history. He's been, like a lot of these fighters they bring out, it's had a bit of a checkered past. He's been in jail. I wonder how they go with the visas and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, it's not a drama, but 6-0, 5 knockouts, and coming off a first-round knockout of Donis Reed back in April. He's got a little bit of attention over in the States. It's been a few stories on him and on different sites and everything like that. So, and he's got a little bit of swagger about him as well. He's got the gift of the gab as well. And, he can fight. Does he fight good enough to give Paulo Aokuso any issues? I doubt it. He's very basic. He tends to sort of not move his head coming in, just swings the right hand wildly, not a lot in the way of defence. This is, again, a perfect opponent. And full credit to No Limit, by the way, with picking these opponents, because they'll all give their opponents on the night, the Aussies, some really solid action, I reckon. So hats off to them. But, Casey Dixon, he'll let him go. Don't worry about that. And he'll give Paulo Aokuso some moments. But I'm just a big fan of Paulo Aokuso. And it probably answers the question, by the way, where's Paulo Aokuso been? He hasn't fought since November last year. He was at the launch of the No Limit season at the start of the year, but hasn't really been seen since. And what are we? Mid-August. So it's great to see him sort of back. And Casey Dixon, I think it's a really entertaining fight for the card, a really nice sort of way to have, I suppose, the trilogy of the 3 main guys on the card. And that'll be an entertaining fight, but I think that Casey Dixon, while he'll be game, he'll be tough, he'll have a real go at Paulo Aokuso. I think Paulo Aokuso is just way too slick. Got a lot of faith in Paulo Aokuso that he can really do something at world level. His last fight against Clay Waterman, though, I don't think it was super impressive, but Clay Waterman's a very, very good fighter as well, domestic level fighter. And I think he would have learned a lot from that. Look, he's got he throws hands really, really well. He can punch. He's very, very slick. But he probably can just be a little bit casual for me. And I've just got a feeling, and what I've heard, that maybe in training camps, maybe he's not as dedicated as he needs to be. And if he fixes that up and really gets serious about the sport, this guy's a serious fighter, really is. And he could be really pushing for a title fight in another couple of years as well. I know there was talk at one stage that he was going to go for Jeff Fennick's record. I don't think that was ever a realistic sort of proposition for Paulo Aokuso. But as I said, great to have him back, and I think he's on the road now, especially with No Limit behind him. I don't know why he left No Limit in the first place. A really bad career move, because I think pretty much wasted a couple of years of his career, even though he has had a couple of fights in that time. But yeah, I think now is the time for him to make his move. And really looking forward to seeing what he has to offer. So yeah, really, really good card up there in Brisbane. And again, I think No Limit have done a really good job in matching the 3 sort of main guys on the card, matching them well. They're all definitely fights they should win, but all fights that will be that they'll get rounds, they'll get tested, they'll be able and really give the the fans some entertainment. So yeah, looking forward to the September 18th card up there in Brisbane. Another Aussie, Nikita Tszyu, who's been in the news all week. They've really focused heavily on him, haven't they? Every day there's articles and news, clips on social media, and so he was on Triple M yesterday. Him and Michael Zarafa were both interviewed, but it was a strange one. Nikita saying that he's actually eating his wife's placenta as part of his training, drinking breast milk as well. Now, when you say, or when I say eating a placenta, I don't mean sort of thawing it out from the freezer and eating it, with some mashed potato and veggies, nothing like that. I think what they do is they dry it out. And if you don't know what a placenta is, by the way, it's what sort of the female body generates to give the baby all the nutrients and all that sort of stuff that they need to survive in the womb. And it's an artificial organ, basically. So once the baby's born, there's no sort of use for it anymore. It is generated by the birth, but gone after the baby's born. I hope that makes sense. I'm no expert, of course, but so what they do is they dry it out, and they crush it up into like tablet form or something like that, and they take it like in capsules. So that's what apparently he's been doing, drinking the breast milk. Now, this is apparently something that bodybuilders and all that do. They reckon it's better than full cream milk or something to build them up, which doesn't sort of make sense, because apparently full cream milk has a lot more. Now, I'm no expert again with it. I think it's a lot more protein and all this sort of stuff in it, which you would think would be more beneficial to bodybuilders trying to beef up than breast milk that has just more sugar and fat and stuff in it. I don't know. Again, I'm sort of just guessing at some of this stuff, but yeah, that's what he's been doing. And I don't know whether they continue to play on the quirkiness of Nikita Tszyu, whether they do it deliberately to come out with these stories or it just comes up in interviews. But either way, you can really see again they're really focusing on all the Australian boxing public, getting to know Nikita Tszyu. They're really trying to build his profile. It's one thing for his boxing profile, but they're really trying to let people into Nikita Tszyu's sort of psyche and maybe try and build up his profile that way, as well as his fighting abilities as well. So it's not a bad sort of step when you think about it. They have to do these things to let people get to know the man as well as a fighter. And they sort of did it with Tim as well. And now that Tim's sort of on the sidelines, well, it looks like all attention's on Nikita. But pretty weird cat is Nikita Tszyu. But hey, mate, good on you. You go for it, and if it helps your training. He did say that taking the placenta tablets and all that sort of stuff, he feels it on the days that he spars. Some days he's taken it and some days he hasn't. He says he can really feel the difference when he does. I'm not so sure. What do they call it? Is a placebo? It's one of those things that you just think works, so it makes you go a little bit harder. I don't know. But good luck to Nikita. Now another Aussie, Dylan Biggs, is into the semi-finals of the WBC Grand Prix. I didn't get to see it. I'll watch it today. I forgot it was on actually. It was on last night, I think it was, and he beat Petro Frolov by unanimous decision. And I can't remember who he's fighting next, but he's into the semi-final. So well done, Dylan Biggs. He's recovered really well from that loss to Nikita Tszyu, what was it, a year or two ago? Would have been, was it 18 months, 2 years, something like that. But good on him, good young fella. I was a little bit skeptical about what might be next for Dylan Biggs because he was dismantled pretty easily by Nikita. But full credit to the young guy who's picked himself up, trained harder, probably worked on a few deficiencies, and got over to Riyadh, and he's in now the semi-finals of the WBC Grand Prix. And if he wins that, well, who knows what can happen. So what's he had? Three fights now. This will be his fourth. So yeah, fantastic effort by Dylan Biggs. Good on him. Now before we go, there's a couple of quick things. Roy Jones Jr. snapped back at Floyd Mayweather. Has even offered to fight him in the ring. He did have one sort of good point. I don't know whether I don't even know it's a good point, but he did have a point when he said that Floyd Mayweather never, even though he fought a lot of champions, he said most of them are former champions. This is the back and forth. You remember that Floyd Mayweather sat down and watched all of Roy Jones Jr.'s losses on repeat and put it on social media without saying a word, pretty much just saying, hey, I never lost a fight. Look at this guy. You're comparing him to me. you believe in what he has to say about me. Look at him get knocked out time and time again. So a little shifty from Floyd. But Roy Jones Jr. said, look, all the champions you fought were all former champions. Never fought an African-American at his peak. Where was the Hearns or Leonard or Duran, he was sort of saying, or even Spence and Crawford. So I don't know, I don't really buy into it. I just think I can understand they go back and forth, but I really don't like when two former great champions sort of go at each other. I want to celebrate both of them. I don't really care who was better and who had the better resume and all that sort of stuff. Just two brilliant fighters, two obviously Hall of Famers, but just two of the all-time greats. And I would hope that both of them would just sort of grow up a little bit and let bygones be bygones and let everyone else judge. I mean, as I said, it's a little bit childish, but let them go. Now, one last thing, Deontay Wilder. Looks like they're trying to gear him up to fight later in the year against probably another spud. But the aim is in the first quarter of 2026 for him to fight either Anthony Joshua or Alexander Usyk. Now, good in theory, I suppose, but when you look at both guys, probably the Anthony Joshua fight, if Joshua can't get Fury, I would probably understand why they would go for someone like Wilder. Still a big name, still a winnable name, but geez, Deontay Wilder fighting Alexander Usyk, I don't think it's going to happen. Could you imagine Deontay Wilder trying to reach Usyk, Usyk could be in and out and left and right. He'd be hitting him with 4 times before he even got a chance to put his hands up, Deontay Wilder. So I think that would be a complete mismatch. I think Alexander Usyk's got some bigger fights out there for him, although has he? Deontay Wilder is still a big name, but you can just imagine Wilder trying to chase Usyk down. I don't think he'd even chase him. I think Usyk could just come to him, and the amount of angles that he would use. What do they say? That he'd be getting hit so much you'd think he's surrounded. Would Deontay Wilder? So I don't think that fight happens. But as I said, if the Fury fight can't be made with Joshua, why not Wilder? Still two names, probably obviously both past their peak, but I still think that would generate a lot of interest, and probably the biggest fight for Joshua outside Fury and Usyk. Well, you could probably count Jake Paul in there, I suppose, or Andre Ward. There's a few of them out there at the moment. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see whether Deontay Wilder can sort of get back to that level and have another crack at it. But guys, I'm just sort of getting home now, so I'll get on the road. Hope you just have a great Thursday, and we'll catch you tomorrow.